My name's Elmer Blackbird, and I rode Assiniboine Indians from Fort Belknap Agency. Indian, eh? Nakoda, given to me by my uncle Gil Horn after I come back from Vietnam. He walked over her since he was in Marauders and did recon for them. And I was in Vietnam and I did recon. That's hence the good name given to me, walked over Earth. Assiniboine. My dad is Jesse Horn. My mother is Jean Campbell, Jean Blackbird. My grandparents on my mother's side was George Blackbird and Ella Cloud Road Blackbird, and on my dad's side was Elvina Tullius Horn and Jesse Horn the first. Assiniboine means to me that we were travelers. We were one who cooked the stones. We took off from the Iitaanɔɔn'i way back in the 1800s, moved into Minnesota, and from there some broke and left to Canada, becoming Stone Age cookers, stone cookers, ex-Stonies they call them. But in today's world, there's 24 bands at last count of Assiniboine people, and that's what I'm enrolled as and proud of. I went to school in Harlem, the first grade, second, third grade. I went to St. Ignatius. Fourth and fifth grade, I went to Harlem, and fifth grade, I got kicked out, expelled more or less in a white man's term. And then was sent to Pure Indian School, graduating out of Flanders Indian School in South Dakota. Well, the first year I got there in the freshman year in '64, there was a riot. Other than that, the time at Flanders was good. Did a lot of stuff, stayed for summer activities, went to pro ball games back in the '60s. It was kind of fun, actually. Tornado warnings all the time in Flanders. But other than that, nothing really serious went on after that riot in '64. My family, my grandmother would cook commodities. That's what we used to live on, way down on that Phillips County line, that log house way down there. My mother lived at the agency. She was a nurse, but I wouldn't stay with her. I stayed with my grandmother as much as I could. Then after my dad passed away, I was more or less raised by my aunts on the Horn side of the family. Selena Ditmar and Peggy Ball. I roamed all four parts of the reservation as a child, staying with relatives. But it was kind of fun. I knew a lot of stuff. Rode horses a lot as a kid. But everybody I rode with has died since, passed on. Born November 22nd, 1949 at the old Fort Belknap Hospital. Basically, my whole Horn family did speak Assiniboine. My grandmother Ella spoke it at times, but mostly she was into the English. When we were forbid to speak in English, Indian. When I went to school, we were forbidden to speak also, but we did compare languages and Pure, the different dialects of the Sioux language. Well, growing up on a reservation, I ran with like I said, my relatives have since passed. Used to ride horses a lot. Travel from the old Joe Main's place all the way back down to my grandmother's first grade band, where Joe Horn stayed along the river, south of Gittins. This was all before the tribal members had to fence their properties. But more or less a free riding, free entertainment all summer. We entertained ourselves by swimming in a river, riding, breaking horses. It was a good life, actually. When I was growing up, I was basically away from basically on my own, earning my living since I was 14, since I left here. I did attend ceremonies while I was working in Wyoming. Sun dances, powwows. And I came home in 91 and started singing with the Fort Belknap singers. It's been powwow for the next, probably till my brother Mike TD passed after. No, I really haven't went to church since probably maybe a couple of Catholic burials. Oh, it became a big part of my life. In fact, it almost cured post-traumatic stress. Once I started singing with Fort Belknap singers, because before I couldn't be in a crowd, everything would turn to jungle. But once I came back to our culture, took up beadwork again, making things, making hand drums, everything seemed to fall in place. And it kind of took away the post-traumatic stress, but not completely. See, my post-traumatic stress was plain from the war. It wasn't like diabetes included or anything like that. Because when I went to the last psychiatrist after American Made, a year later, he said, "How come you haven't killed anybody yet?" I said, "Why?" I said, "I'm in the United States, I'll go to the pen." He said, "Well, you're deemed 100% unemployable. You can no longer work, whatever." But if I knew now what I knew then, I would have kept working as a diesel mechanic. $19. Okay. When I first landed, I landed in Cameron Bay. Well, I'll tell you that we flew out of Seattle to Anchorage, Alaska, to Yokohama, Japan, then into Cameron Bay a day later. But we landed in Cameron Bay and stayed there for about a week. Not even a week, 3-4 days, and I was transferred to Anchorage, Vietnam. A place called Repo Depot, new guys coming in. But anyway, the second day I was in that place, well, we got in, a mortar attack came. Rather than hit the bunkers like everybody else, I thought, I'm just going to sit here and watch the show. I said, if you're going to be killed, you're going to be killed in that bunker or wherever. And it's that guy I had met when I got there. He said, "I'm going to do this. I want to sit with you and watch." And so we sat under a tree, watched the whole show till it was over. Anyway, I was there did a couple patrols, local around the main base camp. Then about 3 days later, 4 days later, I was transferred to a place called LZ Schuler. It was a fire base. First day I was there, I didn't do much, just got acclimated to people and stuff around me. Second day, they sent me out on my first ambush. Nothing really serious happened. After that, I graduated. Maybe 3 months later, I had my own recon squad. And from there, just went along, okay. And I came home. I had a lot of bad dreams. Killing people, blowing up stuff, ambushes. But, like I said, once I came back into my culture, it kind of eased it a lot. But my job in Vietnam was basically to go out in front of the front lines, into enemy territory, and get information, get movement. try not to get into any ambushes, any firefights. But that was hard to do with only a 5-man team. When you get detected, you get chased. But we all made it home. 1964, I was 14 years old. My mother took me from my grandmother and took me to some office, Wyoming, where she got a job. But I was there for about the summer, maybe August, from May to August. Then they drove me to Flanders and dropped me off without nothing. Because before, when I went to Pure, it was back and forth. I was just here for the summer and gone in the winter, attending the Pure Indian School. So basically, from then on, I provided for myself. And I came back in 91. I was here for 3 months. And then I moved to Billings and been at Billings ever since. You know, after the service, this stuff never bothered me because I learned to get along with all different races of people. But then you see people now that go on the res, sometimes maybe even you read my post, I don't know. It's not how you react, it's how you take things, how you approach things. I said, you don't go around like the government owes you this, the government owes you that. I said, you don't. I said, in my generation, you had to work. I said, our forefathers, I even tell white people, our forefathers, the government might owe them, but in my generation, it don't owe you nothing. I said, and I get along with all these white Brazilians, everybody. Where I live is a white community. But yet I own land and I'm well respected there. Just on account of my views. Mine is a lot different things from, maybe if I'd have grew up on a reservation, it would have been different. If I'd have lived through all my life. But since I did what I did, my views are different. You know what I mean? Biggest challenge is when somebody passes, you have to drive a long ways. But and the other challenge was getting accepted into different communities I've lived in. Some was kind of Pitt Billings. That's one of the most racist towns in Montana, especially when I used to drink. And I quit. I said, oh, we changed. I said, change hell. I said, I watch you guys run down the Indians and never do nothing to the white people. He said, what do you mean? I said, even me, I was racial profiled by Highway Patrol, city cops. And the judge asked me, well, he heard me talk, his name was Peter, and he said, what do you mean, Elmer? I said, Pedro, I said, this Highway Patrol I was going on Iitaanɔɔn'i to the Sheridan exit. I said, this Highway Patrol was going to go around me, and he seen me, I didn't have my hair braided or put up, it was just bushy, because I was working on a car. And he backs off and he pulled me over. So when he comes to the window, he said, can I see your driver's license or registration? So I said, sure. I said, what do you see, your shaggy-headed Indian, so you had to pull him over? That's not the point. I said, let me make a call. And I called my attorney. I said, I want you to hear this bill. His name is Bill Gill. And I said, I'm going to put it on speaker so his patrolman can hear you. You can hear him. We started talking, hey, well, no, you're good. He said, you can go. I said, you don't want to talk over the phone because I got my attorney on the line? He handed my stuff. You can go. See, he wouldn't talk about it. And Peter started, he said, you should have come to me. He said, we could have got that patrolman fired. And I said, no, that's no big deal. I said, I expected it. Actually, I said, in Wyoming, the same place on a reservation down in Wind River. I got pulled over by a cop. I said, it was basically the same thing. He said, man, you go through a lot of stuff. But see, my attorney, he didn't know I was a veteran for years until maybe 6 months ago. They had never really told anybody. My neighbors for 15 years didn't know I was a veteran. But they used to see me talk to the vets all the time. And then one day they asked me, are you a veteran? I said, yeah. I said, don't you know? I said, can't you see my license plate? No, you never say nothing about it. But as far as it, that's basically the most irritable thing is the racial sound. When you move from the res and you go someplace, that's why I used to tell everybody, carry a camera, carry a recorder. I said, record everything that happens. I said, you protect yourself. I thought about it. In fact, I got my mother's house, that red house at the agency. But then there's too much controversy here. Jealousy. When you live away for a long time, you come back and you see all the stuff going on. Too many drugs here. Well, there's no drugs in my little town, but in Billings, there's on every corner. When I come and see these guys, they all call. I used to do that. Not interested in it. There's nothing here for me. If you know what I mean. I'm used to bowling twice, 3 times a week, different leagues. I'm used to going out and doing stuff, and here there's nothing. After, 8 o'clock, everything shuts down. But now I'm getting older, I'm 75, so I've got to slow down sometime. I remember way back down my grandmother's house in winters, there's a big drift on the south end of the house. That's where we used to get our water every winter. But during the summer, drink out the ditches, drink out the river. It's a hard life back then, outhouse. I would like to see them get along instead of fighting. Even now, over Iron Mountain is too divided. I would like to see them improve the housing area. I'd like to see that built back up. All the houses that go to waste since I could see in 81, I helped with housing. When my sister Darlene Horn died, I came back and I worked on the sick ball for a while. And we remodeled the houses around the agency. Now you don't see that. Somebody was at a house, they just had to go down. Out in this place they tore down, they should have used it for archives. Place of interest, you come to visit the red, the old hospital. My grandmother's house should have been preserved, I guess is the word for it. But as far as I see, I like what they're trying to do now, trying to bring everything back. They need to let the jealousy go and get along. That I would like to see one day before I passed away.